for someone who is looking for scholarship, how do you think they should place themselves? Would you advise get some experience, get some work experience, have an idea of what goes on in the real world? I know it's kind of relative.
Yeah, you've taken the words out of my mouth. I always say there's no single formula to how you approach a life. Everyone has their own path. Where we come from, opportunities are limited. Yeah, you cannot say you have to go straight to masters, or you cannot say you have to go straight to work. But what I would say is there may not be jobs available immediately. But what one can try is to do internships or placements. So by doing an internship, you get to understand what is available within the area that you study, where you can be useful or where your skills are more suited for. You will even decide to do a master's in a certain area because you've seen the market is going in a certain direction. Yeah, I remember my dad wanted me to be a teacher, but specifically I'll point to a flood that occurred in Kenya. And when that flood occurred, the Ministry of Agriculture requested to know if we can assess the damage that has been done. I couldn't get any clear image that did not have any clouds. What I did is that I went online and checked how to analyze flood images and assess the damage using this particular type of data. And that's where my journey started on how to use that type of data. And what followed is that I decided to learn more about this type of data set and how we can analyze this, interpret it. I did a short course online. So 1 year later, I had the intention of wanting to know more about this. So I decided to go and check any PhDs that are related to flood.
You did your BSc in Kenya, did your MSc in Nigeria. Your decision for a PhD, sad to say, came from a place of natural disaster.
Yep.
A flood occurred. During the course of your application, things like mentioning natural disaster, your work experience, do you think that gave like an edge?
Exactly. I think that is what gave me extra points, if I would put it that way, in the application process or even the interview, because some of the key things that they were looking for is your experience in using that type of data set that I mentioned earlier, but also in general flood. Have you done anything related to floods?
In this candid conversation with Felix Kasiti, a Kenyan scholar whose drive to pursue a PhD in flood and water policy was sparked when a devastating natural disaster struck a town back home. He reflects on how that moment shaped his research journey, and he shares thoughtful advice on whether aspiring scholars should dive straight into postgraduate studies or first build real-world experience to ground their academic pursuits. This is the story of Felix on how I got here.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I came to the UK in 2022, but before that I was in Nairobi working as a hydrologist. I did my undergraduate in Maseno University. It's in the western side of Kenya, and then I went to work with one of my lecturers. Yeah, so
In Kenya?
Yeah, still in Kenya, western side of Kenya. Yeah, and then in 2016, yeah, one of my friends, classmate from undergraduate, was in Algeria.
Okay.
And he had gone there to do his master's. Yeah, so he told me, yeah, there is this scholarship that is open. Could you give it a go? Yeah, I also applied for the scholarship, and that's where my master's journey started. Yeah, I got an opportunity to study in Algeria, Master of Science in Water Policy. Then went back to western side, Kakamega. It's a town called Kakamega. Worked for 6 months in an NGO that dealt with the solving or providing water. I was looking for other opportunities. Then I applied for a job and got an interview now to the institution that I was working before coming to the UK. Around 2019, I got an offer around June. And that's when I transitioned to Nairobi, now the capital city, Nairobi. There I was working as a hydrologist.
You did your BSc in Kenya, did your MSc in Nigeria, go back to Kenya to work, and at least your work can be termed international. It's not just Kenya. It's like, I
Yes.
mean, regional
Region.
to an extent. Yeah. So when I brought it to UK,
I always look back at some occurrences. Specifically, I'll point to a flood that occurred in Kenya. So this was during COVID times. They had just announced a lockdown. Yeah, I think, yeah, they had just announced a lockdown. And there was a flood that occurred in a river called Nzoia. This is in the western side of Kenya. The river drains to Lake Victoria. And when that flood occurred, within the team that we worked in, there was a request that came, and the Ministry of Agriculture requested to know if we can assess the damage that has been done, that has occurred as a result of the flood. So if we could assess using satellite or remote sensing tools to assess the damage that was as a result of the flooding, specifically on either agricultural land or crops, or any other damage related to the infrastructure. So when this request came, at that time, I had only worked with the particular that type of data, which we call optical data. Essentially, is satellites that take just picture photos of the Earth, just the same way as our phone work. Yeah. So you look at the image and you analyze. But when this request came, because I had only worked with optical data at that time, I couldn't get any clear image that did not have any clouds. So what I went online and I checked an option of using a type of data called synthetic aperture radar data. Essentially, it's a different way of looking at the Earth, but using microwave instead of just normal optical image. How a microwave images the Earth is different because it sends out signals and it receives back some amount, either more or less, depending on the type of feature that is on the surface. So where there's water, you tend to see less signal coming back. So the advantage of that technology is that you can get images at any time of the day, any weather. So it was not hindered by the clouds. So what I did is that I went online and checked how to analyze flood images and assess the damage using this particular type of data. And that's where my journey started on how to use that type of data. So I started using synthetic aperture radar data after that request came in. And what followed is that I decided to learn more about this type of data set and how we can analyze this, interpret it. I did a short course online. There's a site called EO College. It's run by European Space Agency. So after completing that, I think that's 1 year later, I started getting I had the intention of wanting to know more about this, but also looking at the people that we were working with. Most of them were advanced in their academic career. Most of them were doctors. You get motivated to try and improve yourself. So I decided to go and check any PhDs that are related to flood. So my focus or my search was mainly topic-based. So I looked for any PhD that is related to floods, and I got one on the use of SAR data.
Your decision for a PhD, sad to say, came from a place of natural disaster.
Yeah.
A flood occurred. Now, do you think, during the course of your application, things like mentioning natural disaster, your work experience, do you think that gives like an edge when you applying for a PhD?
Yeah.
What was it like for you?
Exactly. I think that is what gave me extra points if if I would put it that way, in the application process or even the interview, because some of the key things that they were looking for is your experience in using that type of data set that I mentioned earlier, but also in general flood. Have you done anything related to floods? So do you understand when they talk about floods and the different types of floods? Would you be able to distinguish that? And yeah, so I was asked about my experience with floods and how to analyze the data set that was that is a focal point of my research. I was asked about that during the interview process. So I would say it was one of the key things that also gave me maybe extra points. Yeah. When I was in Algeria, I wasn't even thinking about PhD. Yeah. I don't think it crossed my mind. Yeah, of course, you see what people do. Yeah, it's something that you think about, but you don't really. I didn't really decide that. Yeah, I want to do a PhD. Yeah, all I wanted to do was go back and look for a job. Yeah, get your career going.
Because I mean, your career at that point in time, working for, I'll call it a multinational, at least working for whereby you are working with, not just in your country, but that's like a dream job for someone in your path, and instead to leave it to go into academics.
I wouldn't say it was an academic institution, but not. I mean, it's not. It wasn't an academic institution, but currently, since I'm in academia, and having that experience of working in a more intergovernmental institution and also multinational, and the nature of work that we were doing was almost like research, but we were developing tools that would directly inform specific decisions. Yeah. So if I would give an example, I was involved in a project that would put sensors in a community, and those sensors were to help warn the communities of an impending flood. So the sensors would read the levels of the river if the river is rising, and trigger an alarm to warn the communities that flood is coming, maybe in the next 40 minutes, so leave your homes. And there was real and actual documentation of how the sensors saved lives, because one of the community members in this project was in Malawi, said that they had the alarm ring and they had to run from their homes. And once they left their home, the water swept the home away. So you see, yeah. So if there was no such warning, maybe they wouldn't have made it out. So having worked in an environment that you feel like you have a direct impact with the community, or you help influence certain actions or decisions, I think is what I would want to go back to. So I wouldn't say no to academia, but I would love to join the industry. Yeah, this is a point in my study where I'm thinking of the next step. Yeah, but I wouldn't close any door at the moment. Yeah. I wouldn't say I want to stay in the UK or I want to go back home. I would prefer to go back home, yeah, and help in any way that I can to change things. But you also have to look at it from the angle of the opportunity. Is there an opportunity that has presented itself for me to go back? Yeah, if I go back, is there an opportunity that I'll get? The scholarship the name is called Iapetus. It was named after an ancient sea. So the Iapetus scholarship is a NEC funded program. Essentially, it's a group of institutions. So Sterling is part of it. Glasgow, Hariwat, Durham. Yeah, yeah. I remember my dad wanted me to be a teacher, but I went against that. Yeah, I I applied for other courses, but this one in particular, earth science, excited me because of what it was about. Yeah, because it had geography as one of the key things, also physics, chemistry, and biology. You had to do all the three science courses to be selected for this. So it was one of the options that I had taken.
Okay. So for someone who is looking for scholarship, how do you think they should place themselves? Would you advise get some experience, get some work experience, have an idea of what goes on in the real world, not just within the four walls of the university, but in the real world? And it's kind of relative.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah, you've taken the words out of my mouth. I always this is what I always say, that there's no single formula to how you approach a life. Everyone has their own path. I would give an example is in the group that we are in as PhD students, I've seen people who have come from undergraduate and straight to PhD because they are that good.
wow.
Yeah. So if you tell such a person that they shouldn't attempt to, or they shouldn't apply for a PhD, they should apply for a master's, I think it will not be fair. I mean, everyone has their own path there. Yeah. But what I would say is you have to try depending on what you want. If you want to go straight to academy, I mean, if you want to get a master's, you just apply for a master's. So if you want a job, you do that. But you'd see there are reasons to why we do things in a certain way. If I would pick my example, when I was working with my lecturer, I had started another master's. Yeah, I did the classwork. I finished the classwork. When I started my research, that's where I got some hurdles. Yeah, on getting my topic approved and such like. So during that challenge, I got another opportunity for another master.
Wow.
I took that.
Another master's?
Yes.
After coming back from Nigeria?
No. Before going to Algeria, I had already started another one. So I dropped the first one and I picked up the Algerian one.
Okay.
Yeah. But you would see that where we come from, opportunities are limited. Yeah, you cannot say you have to go straight to masters, or you cannot say you have to go straight to work.
You have to make some coins first.
Yeah.
You have to make some money.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, when I was working with my lecturer, the money I made, or every bit of coin that I made, I had to pay my fee. Yeah, but unfortunately also, I dropped that. I didn't finish the master's. Yeah. But you would understand that there's no single route to take. It will all depend on the circumstance. Some people will get a job immediately after campus, and some people would take even 5 years to get a job. Yeah. So I may not really have given you an answer on how someone should approach it, but it is subjective. You have to try. Whichever will come, I think that's what will determine your next steps. You just have to try. If you're from campus, you've graduated, apply for jobs, apply for scholarships. Whichever will be first. Yeah. But what I would say is there may not be jobs available immediately. But what one can try is to do internships or placements. So yeah, I think internship is the right one. By doing an internship, you get to understand what is available within the area that you study, where you can useful or where your skills are more suited for. It's by understanding the market. It's when you know which direction you should take. You will even decide to do a master's in a certain area because you've seen the market is going in a certain direction. But when you're straight from campus, you wouldn't know what is happening in the market. So an opportunity, even if it's someone should try a placement or an internship after.
So, your journey so far, a journey of success, what will you attribute it to? Will you say luck? Will you say hard work? Will you say having access to right information at the right time?
Yeah, first of all, I'm not as successful. Not yet. I hope I'll one day say
Of
yes.
course,
I've made it.
You're
Yeah,
on the path.
yeah, hopefully. Yeah, but what I would say is this may be, I don't know if this will be rightly picked, yeah, but there is no luck alone. I mean, you can't just be lucky. I think there are a few things that must have to align. First, you must put yourself in a place that luck will meet you. Yeah. So for me to apply for the masters, a friend of mine referred me to that, and you see, that's friendship. Yeah.
Or networking.
Or networking, exactly. Yeah. But you have to put in the application. There is no luck in you writing. You have to write the application. Then luck will come in. Yeah. Same thing to me applying for the PhD. I wouldn't say it was luck for me to apply, but there are some certain things that I did before that. So I did an online course. I trained myself on a few other things. Yeah, I did some online, courses, self-taught, YouTube, some self-taught courses on programming. Yeah. So that together with me putting in an application, you see, cumulatively they lead to something.
That's true.
Then maybe luck would come in after I have applied. Then I'll get selected from others, from other applicants. Yeah. So first, you have to put yourself in a place where
luck can shine.
Luck can.
Which is networking.
Yeah.
Then you now have to put in the work, which is hard work.
Hard work.
Then work can now be the icing on the cake together.
Yeah, exactly. And things like YouTube are very, very important in our current world. Just self-teach yourself. Yeah. Just do something that will improve you first. Then you will be in a better place to get lucky. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true, actually.
Is there really something called luck? You cannot get a job without applying for a job. Can you?
No, you can't, actually.
Yeah.